And good morning and happy Friday to all of our PSWs and friends across Ontario and Canada. Welcome to PSW Podcast. We come live to you guys every single Friday here on Facebook and, of course, streamed on TikTok. My name is Miranda Romanovich. I'm the CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and host of PSW Podcast. And I am yet again joined by my co-host, Ian De Silva, who is the Chief Operating Officer of both the OPSWA and the CANSWA. And we are here today to talk to you guys about home care.
Mhm.
Home care.
Home
Home
care.
care. It's like the never ending rain of things to talk about with home
There's a
care.
lot. Yeah. Home care, it's a huge issue. It's its own thing. So where do you want, where do you want to start on home care? So lots of good things are happening in home care, community care. So just for the news reasons, we did hear yesterday that WSIB is being extended for community care. A lot of these private companies, personally, I don't see it as a terrible thing, but I think that at least it's something, and we did recommend this when we spoke with the WSIB a number of years ago. This was something that we were supportive or empathetic towards. So that's the one thing. That's something that's developed, but there's a lot of other issues, Marita. So go ahead. Sorry, I just want to get the news out of the way.
There's absolutely more. And when it comes to WSIB for the 29,000 support workers in group homes, retirement homes, and community care across Ontario, this could be a good thing, a bad thing. I'm kind of on the fence about it, not gonna lie.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like these employers now have to pay into WSIB premium, which means in my concern, and this is mine, not OPSWA's, okay? My
No,
concern is that the wages are going to go down because the employers are going to pull from the wages to pay the WSIB. And I really hope that's not the case. And I know there's really great unions behind this, like the CLAC, the CLAC union. And I know that they'll work really hard to ensure this doesn't happen. But that is my only concern is anytime employers have to pay more money into anything PSW or support worker, developmental support worker, yeah, people freak out. And it
it's an
just,
excellent point.
yeah.
It's an excellent concern. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I am concerned because I mean we did do our paper about post COVID-19 crisis, and Ian, you were able to pull insane numbers of injuries
From
for PSWs with WSIB. We've heard from PSWs that some have really great experiences dealing with WSIB, but for the most part we hear mostly negative reviews from dealing with WSIB. So I'm really hoping that this is a positive as opposed to a negative.
let's hope so. We don't
Yes,
know.
toes and eyes crossed.
It's less than 36 hours old, so we'll have to give it some time, I think.
Yes, oh, absolutely, 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 absolutely.
There's
But
nothing. I
home
just
care
want
in
to.
Ontario.
Yeah,
So
let's
home
go,
care
man.
in Ontario, we keep hearing from our PSWs about home care. We keep hearing about the issues in home care, and they are vast and they are many and they are consistent. And one of the biggest issues we're hearing right now are the gas prices in relation to,
Yes,
PSWs going door to door in Ontario and how the employers are not paying any premium to them in order to help them pay for the gas for them to go from door to door. What are your thoughts on that, Ian?
that's a tough one too. So
Yeah.
again, if we're gonna, it comes down to a structural thing. So gas prices are going up. It's not just going up for PSWs; it's going up for everybody. So how do we navigate a crisis that's well beyond the control of the association and even in some ways our own governments? But there should be some empathy given, and there should be some planning and allowances made for PSWs that are facing this crunch. It is not fair for the PSW to bear the exclusive burden of the gaps from the mileage that they're awarded to the mileage that they're actually going to incur.
Yeah.
So I think the real issue is they have to start reimbursing full price for gas for travel or
Do.
something like
I
that.
thought they got to give something more to them. I mean, these PSWs are on the road a lot of times, 8 hours a day, back and forth between houses. And a lot of times we all know the scheduling is fantastic in home care. It's not at all. And so, to give my
Depends on
region, what's that?
depends on the employer. We have
Yes, that as
amazing
well.
home care companies that like Nucleus, SC Health, VON, just a lot out there that do amazing work, but they're not all that good.
They're not
So
all that good, and they're kind of expected to take the PSWs are expected
still
to take
seems
the
annoying.
brunt of this. Yeah, to take the brunt of this cost of gas. And we can understand their concerns, but where I'm concerned is that there's already a ton of patients and clients across Ontario that are not receiving care because there's not enough personal support workers in the home care field. Because I mean they have to have a car, they have to have all sorts of different stuff in order to work in home care. And so these clients are going to go without care again. There's got
Well,
to be a better way to do home care.
well, we did. There was that idea years ago about, we have wheel train systems that are basically communal shuttlecraft that can be used. There are Uber services that can be leveraged that the companies can work with to move people around. This idea that if you don't have a car, you can't get to a job, it's kind of not realistic for some people, unless I'm talking about GTA. So forgive us, this conversation is GTA and a little bit north. Northern Ontario, we'll talk about that in a minute. It's a totally different structural issue. But there are ways around it. So I think we need to come up with some solutions to bring that cost down for the PSW. And that solution would be investigating existing alternatives. Now, those wheel trans things, yes, they take vulnerable individuals around. Is there a way to integrate care and delivery into those models? I don't know. Just an idea.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, we have that idea. I think one of our PSWs had come to us with an idea about shuttling personal support workers up to certain neighborhoods. And they go into these neighborhoods and provide that care, and then shuttling them back to like Finch subway station, shall I say, like in Toronto, at the end of the shift, so that they're able to, to get this care there. Because and what really irritates me, I mean, about Ontario Health at Home as a whole, just Ontario healthcare as a whole, is the fact that no one wants to look outside the box. Like, it's like, these are our systems. We're staying with these systems. We're never going to move away from these systems. This works, but it doesn't work. And it has been proven time and time again by copious millions of dollars being forced into research. And they all come up with the same conclusions every single time, is that this system does not work. So when people like OPSWA come to the government, or the government asks us for like, what can we do better? One of the things, and I know I've talked about this on here before, one of the things that we had recommended, because they were talking about scheduling for PSWs, was taking a PSW, taking their home address. So instead of looking at a client, let's say that lives in Guelph,
Yeah.
and just shooting a PSW to them, no matter where the heck they live.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Look at where the PSW lives. So I live in Cambridge, Ontario. So the idea would be to look at a 50 kilometer radius around me, my house. And those are the clients I care for. And guaranteed there's another PSW that lives within that 50-kilometer radius that I live in. And then they can take my day off shifts. And so right there, then you're dealing with not a huge amount of wear and tear on the vehicle. Gas wouldn't be stupid expensive. I mean, it'd still be expensive, but not stupid expensive. And you'd have that continuity of care. You'd have those same PSWs going into those same clients, when they do. And it would make sense. But everyone goes, oh, no. We're going to use an app system. Don't even talk to me
Which,
about apps.
if
Not
voluntary
all
on both
apps are
sides,
bad,
can
but
work.
still.
But when you're looking at government planning and people are entering into this system that they don't understand, there we have enough apps, okay, in our world. I'm just going to say that. You have an app for everything. You have to build relationships with your every little
Hairdresser.
your your pizza delivery person needs to know your address and everything about you. It's like, okay, getting a little silly. So I can see the resistance to apps a little bit. And apps are a little bit, they're not the be all end all. They do have a huge purpose. But you're right. Like, you got to use the radius element. I mean, these are where PSWs live. This is where the population is. These are where the schools are, where people go to school. They don't always live there, but you want to make sure that you have the people air and that people are matched appropriately. It is not a hard solution. We're working towards something like that with our private PSWs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just can we talk about that just a little bit, how that aligns?
Sure, our private practice PSW. So we decided to expand. So we've gotten a lot of PSWs have decided they wanted to work for themselves in their own communities. I personally think this is a big part of the future of healthcare or home care in Ontario. I really truly believe that, because when you take out the middle person, then the PSW makes a living wage, and they're able to actually support themselves by just working with their clients in their communities. We now have a private practice PSW, is what we've entitled it. It used to be called entrepreneurial PSW. And what this PSW has is 3 million professional liability, commercial liability, 50,000 abuse coverage. Like, they are fully insured. They can do the FMHC, which is a family managed home care program here in Ontario as well. And they also have the support of the association. They have documentation, they have care plans, they have an ear if they need it. And so do the clients of the private practice practice PSWs if they need to ask questions or form a complaint. So it actually works out really well. And we actually put, it's actually on our website now. We're slowly building it with our private practice PSWs, but now you can go onto our website and you can click private practice PSWs, which is on the top of the website, top bar, and you'll see a list of our private practice PSWs that have agreed to have their information out there for the public to seek private practice PSWs. So, this is a big place for people looking for that direct relationship with their
Yeah.
personal support workers. Yeah,
Continuity of they need that continuity
continuity of
of care.
care. Yeah.
It's also an opportunity for companies if you need staff in a pinch. These are the people you go to, or these individuals in the community.
And it's
Um,
worked brilliantly. We
so
relied on our private practice PSWs more times than not, getting emergency phone calls from the public back in the day, if you recall that, late night requests from a former minister of the Ontario legislature
yeah,
who all of a sudden needed a PSW for his father. And we were able to get him a PSW within an hour to go. And it was a private practice PSW, and a shout
yeah,
out to Kim
right.
for that. But I mean, it was a phenomenal thing that we were able to pull that off because they were private practice PSWs.
Private practice, and the flexibility that embeds in the private practice is that ability to deduct things that you
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
business expensive, i.e., gas prices. So we've always like years ago when the first spike happened, our members can deduct, for example, entrepreneurs, and not just our members. If you're self-employed, you can deduct those expenses accordingly as they rise. Of course, it reduces your take-home income like everyone else, but you have some flexibility with it. The real people in a hard place are the PSWs that are in home care. They're usually working for an agency that may or may not even reimburse for travel, and that may or may not even reimburse for gas reimbursement. So you're making $20 an hour. Gas prices are hitting $2. I don't even know what they are. Last time I checked, it was 180 something in our area.
Yeah.
Um, so filling up a tank is now $60 the last 2 days. Like you can see the mechanics, and it doesn't become worthwhile to continue in that route for a lot of individuals.
And then that's when you get into the clients not receiving the care,
So not
right?
now.
And so it's like the government really needs to sit down and seriously look at this, not from a point where you're making six digits a year, but where
No,
you're making, $22 an hour to go out if you're not being reimbursed for pay, or even if you're for travel, and even if you are, that's a lot of money. Like I drive a Chevy Trax, which, used to cost me maybe $50 to fill her up. Now I filled her up last week, $85.
mine
I
double
couldn't
too.
bloody believe it. And because my daughter drives back and forth all the time for school, we have a really hard time keeping gas in the car, shall I say. I have a
Yeah.
17-year-old driver, but I mean, she's everywhere. But I mean, so then I think about PSWs and I think about driving all over the place. And I know when I worked for Bayshore as a PSW and I worked here in the KW region, they had me going from Kitchener to Waterloo to Cambridge it just didn't make any damn sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and I don't know if those are still things that everyone, if that's a common experience, but we're still hearing it happen that you're having these really disconnected scheduling. So, if anyone is commenting or wishes to comment on that, tell us if we're right, or for those who are working, does your home care company provide you with reimbursements to travel? It varies, so there is no standard for across. So, th- I'm not sure. Is anyone commenting? I just got a ding
No,
ding. So,
I can't. No, there's no one here. Oh, yes,
okay,
you
good.
are right. They're saying it's hard now. Yes, you are right. They're saying here on TikTok. So they're agreeing with us. And the crazy part is that I remember back in the day when this really came to light for the OPSWA, and we really shone a spotlight on this, and this was before COVID. And we had a bunch of PSWs send us their schedules, and those have not changed. And I remember these schedules because it was like they were literally like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1,
Yeah,
1 to 2. And I'm going, do they want you to teleport? Like, this is
really.
insane. Like, how do you do this? And it's not like they're down the street. Like, it's like, Miranda, you got to go from like, South Cambridge all the way up to Elmira. And then,
So
and you got to be there. And so this is going to that conversation then about the PSWs only being in there for 45 minutes because they don't have a choice. They
they don't.
have to be able to get to the next client and have that ample time. But then the question also begs too of when do they get a break? And I remember years ago, I was a care coordinator for a home care company for a while, and that's just for transparency reasons. I always made sure to give my PSWs an hour for their lunch, but I know that a lot of these providers don't do that, and they actually expect their PSWs to eat while they're driving to the
Yes.
next client.
That's true. I've heard that too. Yes. It's an expectation. And
Yeah.
again, we'd love to hear more about the experiences, what companies, well, you don't have to give us your company, but are companies reimbursing? Have they taken anything? And let's be realistic as well. It's easy to tell a company that's a rich for profit, you got to pay more because you have the money. But if you're a nonprofit,
Hmm.
you don't have any extra money to give your staff. And that's that I
And
believe
so
in.
I do want to do one thing, and I might get absolutely chastised for this, but I am going to give a shout out to SE Health, because they do have a lot of programs for their PSWs that kind of counteract these issues. So
Yeah.
like they have one where they'll help you buy a car.
Yeah.
They you can get your pay early if something happens on your vehicle or you need to pay a bill. Like they really are looking at innovative new ways to help out their PSWs so that they counteract these growing issues in home care. So I mean, shout out to them. I am quite innovative, quite wonderful. It was quite shocking,
Amazing. Yeah.
to say the least. But I mean, then you have other companies that, and can I just talk about the demand of some of these companies on the PSWs is mind blowing. I mean, they have a complaint. Well, keep it to yourself. We don't need to have that many emails. Well, what do you mean keep it to myself? Aren't I supposed to be communicating to my supervisor about issues with my client? Aren't I supposed to be doing these things? Yeah. But keep it to yourself. We don't need that many emails. Just, you know what you're doing. Just you deal with it. No, just because you're in home care and you're by yourself does not mean that you are alone. And this is where the OPSWA comes really in handy because we have so many home care PSWs that rely on us for questions to their concerns.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually talked to a PSW earlier this week, and she was absolutely so thrilled. She's one of our private practice PSWs, wonderful woman. Later in life, she's decided to do this. She's gone down that route of private practice PSWs. So, you're now dealing with the families directly, which can be extremely difficult because everyone is a different sort. And again, going back to that whole concept of not everyone knows what a PSW can and cannot do. And so you're dealing with a lot of misconception and quite frankly, bullying, of the personal support worker. But I was talking with her and she said, she had called us because she was really distraught about a certain situation. And she was so happy to be able to have that ability to reach out to the association and know that she's not alone. And I just really wanted to put that forward to our PSWs here is you guys are not alone. So if you send us a generic email, yes, it might take us a week or so to get back to you guys. But if it's an actual emergency and you are a member of the association, this leadership team will jump on it and we will help you almost immediately because that is our job. We work for Ontario's PSWs. But she said, like, just knowing that she had that support, she had that documentation backup, she had that ability to talk to people that actually know the legalities of what they can and cannot do. It was a really touching phone call.
Well, it also gave her an opportunity, or the individual an opportunity to basically give her some ownership. It's a girl. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I've already said
Yeah.
to give some ownership over the situation rather than being constantly combating between the different demands. She's able to step back and say, "Hold on, this is what I can do. This is what I can't." So there are limits, and that once you're able to make those boundaries, and you as a PSW accept them, you can navigate a lot easier. Especially when you realize, wait, you're out of line here, or this exceeds my care level. So please make sure that you do look to us if there is some issue that you're dealing with, especially if there's a serious emergency. Not that we're 911, but I mean, if it's an emergency that's critical.
PSW 911. So
Thank
if you
you.
have issues as like a PSW and your issues is not like, my person's having a heart attack, call 911. But if you
Please.
have issues about like legalities or can I, scope of practice issues or even just like human rights issues, you can reach out to us. Absolutely. We are the PSW 911 in those situations. That's what we're here for. That's absolutely what we're here for. But I think, it just plays to the fact of the importance of knowing that you have that support. And I'm not selling the association here, guys. If you're a member, you're a member. If you're not, you're not. But what I am saying is that as personal support workers, and I am one of 20 years, I've done home care, done long-term care, hospitals, the whole shebang. Knowing that I have that support made me work a lot better as opposed to not knowing if I had that support or not.
Absolutely.
And then it's just the truth of it. It's like someone said to me, they go, ever since I got insurance, like I feel like I can do my job better because now I'm not worried if something happens, if I'm going to lose my livelihood. And I said, that's exactly what it is. And I wish more PSWs would realize that because they're out there and they're not working too safe, especially if they don't have the insurance.
Well, and again, that ties back to the first problem. If you're making a small wage and your hours are inconsistent, insurance is the last thing you're going to worry about. Your worries are going to be, I need to make my insurance payments for my car. I have gas. Well, gas is eating up
Yeah,
everything. Everybody,
yes.
sorry, I can't afford to eat. I have to feed my car. Um,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Sorry. So I mean, we are mindful. So just to shout out, for example. Now, again, this we're not selling our membership. If you are not able to join the association, no problem. Please go have a look at our page. There are resources there for you as a PSW to lean on. Professional practice guidelines. We can answer you on the chats as well. We have a team that's there, not 24/7, but during business hours on weekends. We do answer questions there. We can offer some direction in, for example, if you're having a care issue or direction. You don't need to be a member to ask us a question. That's part of our role here in Ontario is to help navigate. So just please feel free to visit the site and make use of the resources. There is some free training too. Use that, especially like stroke prevention, the intimate partner violence. There's a few things we really, really want to look at as well. And please visit those resources.
I mean,
Don't join. But
and thank you for saying that, Ian. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. The PSWs are the heartbeat of Ontario healthcare. I'm not just saying that. It is not just a line. It is the absolute truth of it. Without PSWs, the system will fail. And so, take pride in what you guys do. And I know it's difficult and I know it's every single day. And you guys are out there and you're right today. You're out here. If you're a KW region, you're out in it's just pee and rain outside right now. It's not a nice day here, but you guys are out there and you're doing your jobs and people really appreciate it. But you need to take care of you first. And that's the
yeah.
most important thing is taking care of yourself first so you can care for others. And that's kind of what we do. We take care of you. So, Ian, great conversation.
I was going to go on to more, but we can end it here. That's fine.
Yes, I mean, this is not the end. We have talked about home care before. We will continue to talk about home care. What I really want to see yeah, go ahead.
I got to say this one thing because it's right online here. If you've been hired to do home support worker role and you do not have PSW training, we've seen a number of people, HSWs coming to our association asking us, what do I do? I'm an HSW, which is a very new title just specifically for one specific role in home care. It's a companion care role. But they're being delegated PSW tasks, colostomy bags, players saying, yes, we're going to deem you a PSW now. If you are encountering that, we need you to let us know. This is an extremely big health and safety issue, and it's going to bypass a lot of the structural safety guards we have in place. And we see private companies moving in that direction. We get it, but it's not appropriate for them to start expanding your scope without the necessary training. So I just want to make sure that.
Thank you for saying that, Ian, because and you're right, and that's one of the things we were going to bring up, and I think it was on my head earlier, and then I completely forgot.
Yeah, I just want to get it out there. Sorry.
Something else. Yes, so just to reiterate what Ian said, if you are a home support worker or if you are a PSW working with a company that is having home support workers do personal support worker care, please feel free to reach out to us. We will keep you anonymous. We just want to start collecting data on where and how many places this is happening. As a home support worker, unfortunately, you do not qualify for membership with the PSW Association.
Allied.
However, however, you can under the allied membership, not the PSW membership. However, I would not put yourself in that boat. The PSW role has changed dramatically over the course of the last decade, and PSWs are doing more and more medical care. You do not want to be made responsible for what the PSW does. We have very specific training when it comes to what we provide, and the HSW does not have that training. So please do not do personal support worker care. Don't do it because that's just going to create Again, massive divide. I hear from PSWs all the time. They're having HSWs go in. I'm losing hours because they're using HSWs. I need to hear what company is doing this because I will put them on blast. That is dangerous, not just for the HSW, but for the clients. It is
Well,
extremely dangerous.
we'll talk. I've discovered the company that is out there that's actually training, self-training HSWs to do work. So I'm a little concerned about the how that's being reconciled with this company's government contracts and referral programs when they're being paid to be hiring PSWs, but they're hiring in-house HSWs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking questions. I don't know the answer, and I don't even know if I'm asking the right questions for this
No,
individual.
you're
So
asking the right questions, and
I'm not,
that's what
I
OPSWA
just
does.
we'll talk about that one, and that's another one we'll go on to because the home care is going to be we are going to be looking a lot more in promoting increasing standards in home care. We need to make sure PSWs out there are professional PSWs doing the right job, and especially those who are getting care. You want to make sure you have a PSW that's professional and verified before you bring them into your home. So,
Yep.
uh,
Well, and as we say, we like the OPSWA membership. The OPSWA PSWs, in my opinion, they're the gold standard.
absolutely,
They're the ones that take it upon themselves to join their professional association. They have the insurance, they have the oversight, they have the code of ethics that they follow. And that's important for any client that is watching this, that because when that OPSWA PSW walks through the door, you know that that is actually a personal support worker. That's important to know. That's very
very much
important. So, I mean, right at the end, kind of heavy, but I
so.
like
Didn't
it.
mean it to
I
be.
like it. It's totally, I love it because this is important stuff for us to talk about. I'm sure we got a couple of cheers from the PSWs bringing up the HSW situation because they talk about it a lot. Like I was on
Very
TikTok
dangerous.
yesterday. Those of you who joined me yesterday on TikTok, I mean, oh my God, 100 people
Yeah,
watching me on TikTok, just talking about whatever. Just a reminder, I do go on TikTok live about twice a week where we talk about everything and anything PSW, and there is no you can ask me whatever the heck you want to ask me, basically, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I've talked
on
about
TikTok
everything
too.
PSW down to what type of apartment you should get in downtown Toronto. So it's a very
And you're
interesting
anonymous
conversation.
there too, right? So
Yes, you're very anonymous because the names I've had to say out loud is what is it? Yesterday it was
questionable.
Bubbles. Yeah, it's questionable. Sakes, Bubbles, or whatever. Yeah, it's hilarious.
But
Anyways,
it is a way to communicate. One other thing,
yes.
I forgot my train of thought. My apologies. I was going to ask another question, but I think we're good. We'll talk. We'll talk. Oh, that was it. I want to make sure we also go live on Facebook once in a while as well. So we are going to be doing that as well. My
Yes,
apologies.
I will go live on Facebook later today. So people, if you are guys are around, I'm not sure what time we'll put out an advertisement as to when I'll go live on Facebook today. So you guys can ask me questions here on Facebook as well. And I have no problems having any conversation you guys want to have. We need to hear from you. That's the most important thing at the association is we rely heavily on the personal support workers who are on the front lines, who are in the trenches, that are dealing with this on the day to day. We need to hear what the issues are. If you don't tell us, then how are we going to advocate and do our job for you? So we rely quite heavily on PSWs in general, not even members, just PSWs. So make sure you guys let us know what's going on out there. Remember, if you're not a member yet, make sure to head over to our profile on TikTok or here on Facebook. Click the link. It's all self-explanatory from there. Click on memberships. Remember, all of our membership is tax deductible. If you're not an OPSWA member, you're not protected. Ian, what a fantastic conversation about home care. I'm going to call this part one of the home care conversation on PSW podcast. We are not done. We want to hear from you guys where you want us to dig into and where you want us to expel the truth. So you guys let us know and we will absolutely we'll do it. We're
We'll
known
do
for
it.
that.
Yeah, we
We're
need to
known
know.
for
And
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we want to get a good conversation. The more information we have, obviously, to make sure these are stories that were reported to us. So
Yeah.
again, the bigger the spectrum of pictures, the better we can have.
Amen. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us again on yet another PSW podcast on a rainy Friday, April afternoon now almost. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you guys all have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Ian, it's always a blast with you. And with that, I'm going to say, OPSWA out.